Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. This is a video that I knew I would have to do, it was inevitable, but I didn't think it would be today. So we're going to talk about the Super League. We're going to talk about exactly what I think this means. We're going to talk about where football is heading. I had other ideas today, right? I was going to talk about Reece James. He's having hamstring surgery. Finally, right? That's confirmed. He's going to be back, I think, in about April. So good luck to him. I hope this problem can now be resolved once and for all. The fact that he's got the go-ahead to go and have the surgery and it's been decided is a good sign. It's a good thing. It means that it doesn't, but hopefully his hamstring isn't too complicated to the point where surgery becomes risky. So good luck to him. On top of that, we were hearing about Chelsea might be getting a striker in January. Ivan Toney is not going to be on that list, it seems. Arsenal are very well in for him. Things that we've already known. And I was going to maybe talk about those sort of things. But then we got a bombshell. A big bombshell. And we're going to get into it. But before we do, don't forget to catch all the content as it drops on here. Make sure that you are hitting the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I have uploaded. Smash the like button if you do enjoy this. And don't forget to check out the socials. They are on screen and in the description for you now. Much appreciated. So, what's happened today then? I remember 2.5 years ago, right? It was literally on the launch of this channel, in and around that time, where I did come out and tell you guys that, okay, this Super League is not a good thing. And everyone agreed. And we protested, right? When I say we, I mean football fans as a whole, collectively. Fans at Stamford Bridge literally taking on the duty for all football fans in the UK and protesting to the point where Petr Cech had to come out the bloody offices at Stamford Bridge to address the fans and go, calm down, we are withdrawing, we're withdrawing. And then the whole jubilation of the crowd, you know, it's like we've scored a Champions League winner, right? Ironic. And at that point, I remember doing a video and telling you guys, don't worry, they will be back. They will be back. This is inevitable. The moment it came out, this was always going to happen. 2.5 years later, it's been repackaged. There's a CEO face on it now. There's a presentation. There's been dialogue for the past 18 months. There's been things put into place. And all of a sudden, boom, rebranding, European Super League, back on. Well, there was a court case. And the court case was in between the European Courts of Justice and UEFA, talking about how it was, whether it was lawful or unlawful to block the formulation of a European Super League. Well, today was the verdict. And the verdict was given by the European Courts of Justice that ruled that UEFA and FIFA acted against competition law by blocking the formation of the Super League in 2021, sorry. So a bit after this channel had formed. The channel formed in 2020. The moment this came out, that's it. The legislation is now telling European clubs on the European continent, those that are within the European Union, by the way, this doesn't apply to the UK, and I will explain why. Well, Brexit, but I'll get into detail. And that now gives all of them the green light. You want to join the Super League? The law isn't stopping you. Before, there was a case of, listen, if you go to the Super League, you'll be taken to court. There will be legal action taken against you. That was the blocking point, I think, for all the clubs, right? They didn't want legal action. Well, now it's been deemed lawful for you to go ahead and on your way if you want. See you later. So, on this news, and it was, I think, since yesterday, it was anticipated that this was going to be the verdict, and everyone started preparing. The European Super League, A22 Sports Management, the company in charge of this European Super League, and the CEO of this European Super League, Bernd Reichart, got a presentation ready, and boom, told us the new format of the Super League. What is it? How is it going to work? When is it going to work? Is it going to work? How will it be done? All questions answered with the presentation. So I'm gonna give you a very brief, right, understanding of this tournament, and then we will get into it. Here it is. The new proposed European competition by A22 Sports. 64 clubs across 3 leagues. 3 leagues named Star, Gold and Blue. The Star League has 16 teams, and so does the Gold. And the Blue League, the 3rd division of it, will have 32 clubs. All clubs will play in groups of 8, home and away, resulting in a guaranteed minimum of 14 matches per year. They've come up with this, right, graphic to show that there will be free viewing of live matches on a streaming platform that belongs to the European Super League, which will be owned equally by all the football clubs that are taking part in the competition. They say it's all based on sporting merit, just like the current European model in the UEFA, the Champions League, the Europa League, etc. There's a home and away throughout competition. The number of participating clubs is slightly less compared to all the European competitions put together. And the minimum number of matches is higher. The match weeks are equal. And the governance is the clubs rather than UEFA itself. Now, the European Super League, A22 Sports, have accused UEFA of monopolising European football. I have to hold them to that statement because it sounds ridiculous. If we're taking it at face value, right? I understand what they're trying to say, but they are the European Federation of Football. They are the Federation of European Football. There has to be a Federation of European Football. Of course they're going to exist. So to say that they monopolize European football is a bit stupid. You know, but what, did you expect different federations of European football to start popping up? Like, no, you know, that's not the case. No federation, no continent has multiple federations, right? Everyone has their own. UEFA, it belongs to Europe. So to try and make it look like, UEFA, and I don't like UEFA, by the way. You know my history of UEFA. I hate them, right? But to be honest, they're all crooks. But we got to talk realistically here. Yeah? To make it seem like that they've been holding European football back because they don't want to seize power. Like, what is this? Like the WWE, trying to take down WCW. And the moment WCW, ceased to exist, they bought out WCW. All of a sudden, the WWE is monopolizing the world of wrestling. Well, yeah, in that, absolutely, yes, there's a case. But for UEFA, no, come on. It's a federation of European football. There has to be one. So there's that. The problem with that statement is, and the way that I think it will go, is if A22 Sports, right, were to take all the clubs, and they've left UEFA, they've left the European competition, they've all adopted into the Super League. Well, who's monopolising now? That's the truth. I'll explain my issues with this whole Super League, and it will relate to that point. But to keep going, this is the competition. Now, in terms of the names of the leagues, by the way, Star, Gold, and Blue, well, funnily enough, that represents the 3 coordinates on the European flag, doesn't it? You know, blue, golden stars. Yeah, there you are. So that's the EU flag, basically. I think, England might have a problem with that. But talking about English teams have always had the green light to go to the Super League if they've wanted to, except the Premier League. What do I mean by that? They've not been tied down by law, right? Like the European clubs, the European courts of justice having to take the court case and deem it lawful in the end. Brexit mean that we're not part of the European courts of justice since 2020, right? We've left that. So Britain has its own legislation and can deem whatever they want to deem. There's been nothing realistically blocking the British team from going to the Super League, except for the Premier League going, you better not go, because in that case, we'll take legal action against you, and then we'll have to do it in-house with, the British Supreme Court or whatever it will be in the UK. So there's that. But now we're at this point where it's all deemed lawful. All of a sudden, courts can't get involved. They can't. It doesn't go against competition. It doesn't go against law. So it's going to be the federations now. It's going to be the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, Serie A, Ligue 1. All of these federations, all these national associations are going to have to block their own teams from leaving and going to play the Super League. Now, when I say leaving, I use that for a reason. Because the Super League have come out today, unlike the first time in 2021, where they said it's a closed format. You're either staying where you are or you're coming in the Super League, right? Now they're trying to deem it as, no, it's open. You will continue to play all of your domestic competition. This will replace European football. So you won't be playing the Champions League or the Europa League or the Conference League. You will be entered into this. Now, there's 64 teams that have received invitation. Right? And then how it's going to work is those three leagues, Star, Gold and Blue, will be based on promotion and relegation within those leagues. Star, obviously, having Gold below. The two teams that finish top of Gold will be promoted to Star. The two teams finishing bottom of Star will be relegated to Gold. Vice versa with Gold and Blue. And then the ones getting relegated from Blue, how many we don't know. They said that they weren't able to disclose that number because there isn't a number yet. They have to talk with all the federations and all the leagues first. I'm surprised that's not actually been clarified yet. But they will be relegated. They will exit the European Super League and other teams will come in. This will replace European competition, as I said. What do I think of this? I think it's a big ploy. Yeah? I'll be honest. On paper, right? At face value of what they have presented, it doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad at all, you know? And the buzzwords that we've heard today in terms of, the financing side, it will be based on sporting merit, clubs will have governance, income and revenue will be shared, equally distributed across the clubs within the Super League. It sounds like paradise for football clubs, right? It's like, bloody hell, this is perfect for all of us, you know? And look, the money involved in this is absolutely huge. I think there's $100 billion that's involved in this formation of the Super League. It's crazy. The fact that Real Madrid, Barcelona, and I'm not sure if Juventus, if they will be a founding member, because they've never backed out, they'll be given $1 billion each just for being there as the founding member. $1 billion. There you go. So you best believe this will be attractive to loads of clubs because financially, it's just incredible. The amount of money. The streaming network that will provide free matches for all fans because it will be based on ad revenue, much like how you watch YouTube. You're watching me right now. Much like how you watch your Netflix. Much like how you watch Amazon Prime. You watch all these places that you have subscription models. Or if you do have free viewing, it will be advertisement based, right? There'll be ad revenue there. That is what this streaming platform is going to be, apparently. And the income will be distributed across the football clubs. So if for a football club, it sounds like heaven, right? But they made it seem like this will be replacing just European competition. I have to ask the question, how? People, I think, are naive to believe. And maybe this was how it will start, but I don't believe this is how it's going to finish. You think teams are going to be playing their domestic leagues. Let's take an example. Man City, United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool. Those are the 6 teams that were invited into the Super League in the first place. If there's more now, I don't know. But those teams will be playing Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and then they'll be playing Super League. Minimum of 14 matches. And they'll be in... Best believe they'll probably be in the Star Division, right? Where they will, as long as they finish in a reasonable position, they'll be getting loads of money and they won't be relegated. So the next season, they don't even need to think about finishing in the top 4. They're in the Star League. We ain't getting relegated, it's fine. So what's that going to do to the integrity of the competition domestically? What's that going to do for those teams that are in the Premier League that will think, okay, now you know what, we've got a big Super League game against Real Madrid. And then we've got Barca immediately after that. Screw it, we'll play the kids. We don't need to get top 4 anymore, you know? That doesn't exist anymore. Fantastic. We're already in the Star League, so we can rest the entire squad and we'll play the kids, right? In this game against, I don't know, Bournemouth. Or we'll play Aston Villa. Actually, Aston Villa might be, I don't know, they might make it to like the Blue League or the Gold League. But you get the gist. This is going to kill anything that's left of the Premier League, even domestically. They're trying to make it look like the two can coexist. They will coexist at the beginning just to get everyone through the door. That's my belief. Just to get everyone through the door. Eventually, you best believe the original intention is what's going to come flooding back in. What was the original intention? It will end up being closed. It will end up being those teams within those leagues. Yeah, not a problem. It will end up being those teams having to play in Dubai. And then we're going to play in Melbourne. And then we're going to play in New York. And then we're going to play in Jeddah. And then we're going to play in London. And then we're going to play in, I don't know, South Africa. And it's going to go global. That schedule cannot keep up with domestic competition. The two cannot coexist. They can't coexist. There's no chance. So at first, yes, it might end up being a case of, these teams are playing their domestic competition and then they'll play their 14 minimum matches like they play European competition. But the fact that there isn't a target in the domestic competition for you to end up qualifying season by season to get into the Super League means that the top teams, all they need is the first invitation. Once they're in, done, job done. We're in, guys, finished. Premier League, who cares? That's the problem. Many people have overlooked that. I don't understand how many people have overlooked that. It's staring you in the face. You thought the Premier League was boring now. It'll be killed. It'll be killed. It will die. But they want you to think that the two can coexist. And when it's an open competition, they know that they are going to end up not monopolizing European football. They're going to monopolize world football. That's their aim. And I stress that is where it will head. Why? Because it's not just football that's heading in that direction. And that's what many people don't seem to understand, or they don't want to understand, or they don't know. 2030 is a very, very key year for the world. Right? Globally, globalization of all industries, interconnecting everything is exactly what's going on right now, and football will be no different. Football will, in fact, I think, be a big part of the way that the world will be working towards 2030, and it's already heading in that direction. This is why this was always going to come back. This is why I said back then, don't worry, they'll be back. I'm against them, but they'll be back. They will be back, because this is where it's heading. So the teams that are saying no, actually no, the teams that said no, right? Funnily enough, today, a few of them said yes. You still get many that are saying no. I feel like UEFA, and well, funnily enough, UEFA are now talking about going back to their old format. So the new Champions League format that was meant to take place from next year, the expanded format, might be scrapped. For that, fantastic, because no one agreed with that format, and if this is what's going to cause them to go back to the current format that still exists but was about to end, if they were to stick with it, fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, the European Super League has done what it was meant to do. The Champions League is remaining as it is. Fantastic. We don't need to change anything. Brilliant. But it's not that. It's the financial incentive that these clubs cannot overlook and cannot ignore, something that UEFA cannot provide them. In fact, FFP that started from UEFA is what's holding a lot of these clubs back, where they know if they go to the Super League, there's no FFP anymore. They don't need to care about balancing the books. They go in, they get given money to play. You know, you've shown up. Here's $1 billion. Thank you very much. You know, or here's multiple millions. Or you're in this league. Fantastic, right? As long as you just remain here, right? You're going to be getting tons of money every single season. It's a football owner's dream, right? It's a dream. Financially, it's a dream. So this is where eventually, you best believe, football is now looked like as a business by many of these owners. And I've been criticizing my club's owners recently because I believe that's the model they're looking to take. You best believe they're all going to jump ship eventually. Man United come out and publicly said no today. Manchester City apparently are sticking to their stance of no. We haven't heard from anyone else. Well, in terms of the clubs that have actually come out and said no, if I'm going to bring this up, so Marseille and Lyon are now keen to join. They're happy to join. Funnily enough, Lyon are facing a relegation battle all of a sudden. Yeah, we'll join the Super League, not a problem. Valencia have said no, right? So Valencia's saying no. Most of La Liga have said no, to be honest, except for Real Madrid and Barcelona. Everyone else is against it. The UK government have tried to say that they will be legislating a football regulator that will stop clubs from joining any breakaway competitions in the future. So what is that going to mean? Basically, as the Premier League have tried to make it seem in their statement today, if a governance bill was to come by the UK government, which I know many Chelsea fans are against, and absolutely I'm against them too, but this goes to show, it's like the devil against the devil here. You know, is the grass green on the other side? Is it the devil that you know rather than the devil you don't? This is where we are right now. But if a bill was to be put forward by law, it would basically mean that if the clubs rebel, they will be thrown out of their domestic football. So if a Premier League team was to think, I'm going to go to the Super League, right? The Premier League will then have the right to basically, by law, if this bill was to go through, to kick them out, or the FA will chuck them out of English football. They're not going to be bothered. I saw this and I laughed. I was like, is that a threat? That's not a threat. You're giving them what they want. And this is what I'm saying. I believe governments know exactly where this is going, and they know that they're going to have to be a part of this, or they're going to have to try and push this through one way or another. And a way to actually push it through is to introduce a bill where you're threatening these clubs, oh, you better stay, if not, we're going to chuck you out of this country's football. See you later, lads. They're gone. Because what they're getting over there, they're not getting over here. And that's where it's heading. This is what's going to drive everything. Now, it depends on the amount of teams that are actually going to say yes or no. Right now, there's a lot of no's. There's some Turkish teams that want to join, apparently. Napoli have said that they want to join. But when you're talking about the teams that are looking to... Well, Ligue 1 in France refused. They're saying no as a whole. But you do get a couple of teams, like I said, Lyon, Marseille, that said they want to go. The teams right now that have rejected, Manchester United, Man City, Celtic, Sevilla, Valencia, Atletico Madrid, Real Sociedad, Villarreal, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Monaco, Inter, AS Roma, Pescara in Serie C. They're probably not even got invited, so I don't know what they're doing. And Feyenoord. Those are the teams that have said no. It's a lot of teams. But you best believe there has been a shift. There are teams that were against before that are happy to join now. Because financially, it assures their future of the club at a top level when you think about the money that's going to be coming in. So, I'm just saying... People, I think, have a misconception of what they've been told today and what they've been presented, and I ain't being fooled. No. I don't believe what they've said today as a whole. I feel like they've painted over a picture. I feel like they've presented this beautiful, utopian image of wow, this is incredible. This is a 10 out of 10 proposal. This is fantastic. But there's many cracks in there that have not been addressed. And I feel like eventually, if this were to happen, it will end up shifting towards what the original format was. And you best believe it will end up becoming a globally based closed competition when the domestic leagues have been completely jeopardized and basically butchered and thrown to the sides. Simple as that. People think that the two are going to coexist. Eventually, what's going to happen to the small teams? I'm against this Super League. Why? Because with the model that I know is going to end up taking up in the future, even though it might start off open now, but it's going to have a huge effect on domestic competition. It's going to obliterate it to the point where I don't feel like those domestic competitions are going to be able to sustain itself. That's when the Super League will be like, hey, you might as well just stay here now and we'll expand this competition and look, it's finished. You might as well just come here and stay here and let's just do it all ourselves, right? And then it will become a world football thing. When that happens, what happens to the little teams? What happens to the non-league clubs? What happens to the teams in League 2 and League 1? What happens to all of those? What happens to the pyramid in each country? You're talking about the football pyramid. That is what's going to get destroyed, whether you like it or not from this. They've not come in to directly replace the Champions League. They've come in to take over world football. That's what their intentions are, and I believe that. We'll see. So, that's my problem with it. Let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, I'll be honest. I'm against it, but I think it's heading there. That's my honest opinion is that I think that they're going to find ways, unless if football clubs stamp and say we're not going anywhere. If there's enough right? If they don't get enough teams, it's a non-starter. But there's enough teams that jump ship, which I think is going to be inevitable because of the financial incentives. That's where I feel like it's gonna take shape, and then they will start rolling with it, and then eventually it'll be a thing, and then more will start coming in. I feel like that's probably what will happen. So let's see what happens. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know down below. Much appreciated. And I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new video where I hope it's not going to be Super League based, but you never know because this is big news. So we're probably going to get more. But there will be more Chelsea stuff, more other football team stuff. We get ready for the Premier League weekend as well. Let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I have uploaded. Don't forget to check out the socials. And I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new one. Have a good one, people. In a bit. Take care and peace.